Everyone, how are we doing today? Well, I didn't check in the last 10 minutes or so, but earlier today it looked like the Dow was down 700 or 800 points. Could be the third day of the week, and it's only Thursday where the market moved up or down 1,000 points. Pretty, pretty spectacular moves, and yeah, just pretty spectacular moves. Never seen anything like it. A couple of things I want to talk about quickly is I've gotten some feedback from folks that watch the channel who are much better stock traders than I am. They have portfolios that they've been playing with for 10, 20, 30 years. Um, and they're doing quite well in this market, so congratulations to all of them. Again, I'm not making any stock market advice. I don't pick companies. I occasionally talk about companies who have what I consider odd behavior. Most specifically, last night, I did a conversation real quick, and it was really what I intended that conversation to be is I'm having sales rep, which was the industry that I was in, very complex sales, 6, 9, 12-month durations that were very common, where 7 and even 8-figure transactions were the result. And what I was trying to share with you is key steps in those early stages of those sales cycles aren't happening. And sure, it's possible the 20 or so sales reps that are talking to me were once great sales reps that are now terrible, and maybe they have bad accounts, and maybe it's just them and everything else around them is okay. I don't think that's what's happening. And I wanted to share that with you because I think, especially in technology, the PE, the earnings estimates, all of that stuff is so stretched today that if what the sales reps are telling me is true, and it continues, obviously, because it could always change, um, we could be in for a shock. So that was really the intent of my conversation last night. Um, I perhaps wasn't as communicative as I could have been. I wasn't picking companies. I wasn't saying winners and losers. There's stock market risk, sector risk, company risk. And as has been pointed out by more than one person, I'm a horrible stock trader. I let my emotions get in the way, and hence, I don't invest in stocks. I know myself and just don't do it. So, in the end, I just wanted to get that out. It kind of bothered me that maybe I miscommunicated yesterday, so I just wanted to put that out there. Next up, was fun to see Sam Zell this morning on CNBC. I think it was CNBC. It might have been Bloomberg. I forget which one it was. I saw so much stuff this morning. I like Sam Zell. If you don't know who he is, maybe you're under 40 and you don't know who Sam Zell is, Zell. Do yourself a favor, Google him. He was known as the grave dancer for his aggressive acquisition of properties during a pretty spectacular downturn. I think it was in the 80s. And he got out at the top. He had equity, I think it was called equity properties, that he sold out right at the top of the market in 07 or 08. And he's somebody you have to follow. He doesn't consider himself a real estate guy, although that's clearly where he made his money. In the interview, he talked about being an opportunistic buyer, right? That's what he looks for. He looks for opportunities that are in his favor, and he could turn around. So they started off that interview talking about human reactions, whether they are warranted or not. There was a lot of talk in the interview about, sure, we have 100 reported cases, but how many do you really think we have? Talked about travel and what he saw now versus 9/11. Again, having somebody who's been through been through this before is always fun to listen to. So I like that. He did highlight that restaurants. He was specifically L.A., Chicago, New York. Again, these are his cities. He didn't see any hit to restaurants yet, which I thought was interesting because I didn't know that. But he did highlight this as uncharted territories, and he positioned that he thinks we have a lot more than 100 cases, uh, which I think all of us do, frankly. Um, he doesn't buy a market. He gets asked all the time, what market are you in? What do you do? All of that. He goes, I don't buy markets. I buy deals, which I thought was interesting. Um, I really thought that was interesting, right? He has such size and reach that he's a constant filter of deals, and then he goes from there. So I thought that was interesting. He actually did highlight that he was about to do a deal in the food. What do you call it? Food distribution, and he actually delayed that deal. Didn't say the company name, didn't say what it was, but it was in food delivery, and I'm sorry, food export distribution, food distribution, and he said he delayed it because he doesn't know if this is a 3 or 6 month disruption, if this is a change in consumer behavior. He was. It sounded like he was weeks away from completing the transaction, and he delayed it. So I thought that was interesting, right? Sam Zell, someone who I'm sure put a structure together that was at least decent, decided to delay it. And I think that in the real estate game, I think you may have a lot of larger transactions going. Whoa, what's going on? Let's take a seat. So again, consumer behavior, right? What's going on? And if Sam Zell's not doing a deal, what I read from that is maybe mom and pop aren't going to buy their house, right? Because again, what do I do here? I talk about cost of capital and consumer behavior. And if Sam Zell's delaying a deal, does that mean, mom and pop aren't going to buy the first home? They're not going to buy, they're not going to upgrade their home? It might be a realistic assumption. And again, what that means is less buyers. It's easier to find the motivated seller when there are less buyers because they just kind of stand out. So it's going to be interesting. Something else I saw, Roofstock. If you haven't checked out Roofstock, at least go to the site, check them out. They basically sell, they're like I don't know. I don't know what they would call themselves. They're basically like a distribution arm for turnkey properties. I interviewed one of their VPs once, and they said they had a 500% jump in visits from Asia. They positioned that they thought that the Asian investors were looking to get their money out of their markets and into a more stable world. They said 450% from Germany, 250% from Australia, and 100% from the UK. I thought that was interesting, right? Those are pretty significant jumps from international. It does mean that there's more competition perhaps for investments in the US. They're mainly single family homes, as I recall. They may I think it's all residential. They may do duplexes, tris, and quads. I haven't looked for that. I know they do houses. But I thought that was interesting, right? The international buyer is looking outside their market. So what does that mean? Is it interest rate related? Probably not. Is it less faith in their economy? Maybe. Is it less faith in their currency? Maybe. But, that's interesting, right? We have to think about that. What does that mean, right? If Asia, Australia, Germany, what's the other one? The UK is significantly increasing their look at US rental properties. Something to at least consider, right? And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, which was really my point of yesterday's video, is earnings estimates are going to get cut, in my opinion. And yes, I can't pick which companies are going to have earnings cut, but that's what I was trying to share yesterday when I got some heat. And for that, I went out and found an article about Europe, just to give you a taste of what could happen, right? Europe, specifically Italy, has been hit pretty hard. But Europe has a index called the Stoxx 600, STOXX 600. So this is what's happened to their earnings estimate and may happen similarly here. January 21st to today, those are the two date ranges, right? January 21st and March 5th, 4th, whatever. Something today, yesterday. They originally estimated earnings estimates were going to be up 6.7% on January 21st. They now, as if the recent adjustment, expect a negative 1.4%. So what is that? That's a 8.1% swing inside of 6 weeks. If you go down to sectors, right? So that's the market. The Stoxx 600 is the market. If you go to the sector, industrials was expected to gain 5%, now down 17, 22% swing. Then you have consumer staples up 17%, was the expectation on January 21st. Now down 7. So my point of some of my videos here recently was, hey, if we can see earnings estimates being cut coming, should we do something? And perhaps I didn't communicate that well. Yes, if you stay invested in the US long term, you will be fine. If you want to hold and just not look, awesome. If that's your time horizon, awesome. You're going to be fine. History says you will be fine, right? If you look at the Dow chart over any length of time, decades, multiple decades, holding stocks is the place to be. But not everybody has that time horizon. Sometimes you need your money sooner. You're going to buy a house, you're going to have a college tuition payment, you're retiring. Sometimes you have to make a decision. And if you make a decision into a down market, that hurts, right? So that's all I'm talking about. I'm just trying to share what I see. I'm not trying to pick stocks. I don't put money in stocks. So if you want to hammer me for being a bad stock trader, fine. I don't disagree. But that's what I'm doing, because all of this is based on the consumer. A lot of consumers make their home purchases, which I care about, with stock money, whether it be stocks from their 401k they sell to make $10,000 from their 401k, whether it's RSUs or options. That's all I'm trying to do. So at the end of the day, you have a wonderful day. I'm looking forward to my 8 a.m. interview, and you have a wonderful day. We will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.